Hey everybody, welcome to MuleyHaven, part of the Bridge the Gap YouTube site. I recently got a question about why I prefer to play head-to-heads on DraftKings as opposed to FanDuel. And there are several reasons that I just wanted to go over in a video. My motivation for this is kind of to for people that agree with me to possibly like reach out to FanDuel or tweet their customer support and ask for to implement some of the changes that DraftKings has done over the years and helping improving their product and making it a little more fair for newer players. So the first thing that I'll go over like the three biggest differences between the sites. And some of you that play FanDuel may already know this, but this is for people that are a little bit more casual players. First of all, FanDuel doesn't allow you to block any opponents from taking your head-to-head matches. DraftKings gives you 10 blocks, and I'll go over how to access that towards the end of this video. FanDuel does not give you any player blocks, so anybody can take your games. I think the Sharks might be banned from like $1 and $2 head-to-heads, so you're safe there. But anything I think like $3 and up on FanDuel they can take. The second thing that is different is DraftKings allows you to limit the opponents that take your head-to-heads. So you can put a limit that for every stake, like 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 109, 215, that the max that an opponent can take from you is one game at each price point. On FanDuel, there is no limit. So if you were to post $51 head-to-heads, the same person could take every single one. And you obviously don't want that to happen because that's bad for, that's a lot more variance, and you want to spread your variance and have as many different opponents as possible. So that's a real killer for me because I would, somebody like me, I would want to post a bunch of $5, a bunch of $10, a bunch of $20, a couple 50s, couple hundreds at a time. And if I were to do that on FanDuel, a shark could just come along and all of a sudden, poof, there goes $300 of games against me. Whereas on DraftKings, I have those 10 player blocks, and I can, if it's a really good player that I don't have blocked, at least I know they can only take one game at max. The third thing is that, and I talked about this on DraftKings in a previous video about the head-to-head rake refunds for ties. FanDuel, unfortunately, does not have this feature. They do not auto-refund your head-to-heads that tie with another opponent. And one of the problems we've seen this year, especially on DraftKings for NBA, where pricing has been pretty soft, we've had a lot of duplicate lineups, like the optimal lineups, or maybe perhaps like an optimal lineup from a popular site, or an optimal lineup that you're getting in like an aggregate that all the other same people are getting on. You're going to find when you go through your head-to-heads that you have, and on certain nights it's a lot worse than others, depending on news and all that other stuff. But you're going to find when you go through all your head-to-heads that you have a lot of dupes, a lot of people scooped you that have the same lineup. And like I said in my previous video, DraftKings refunds the rake the next day, and I showed you where to go on that previous video as well to view that. Unfortunately, FanDuel does not do this. They do not refund your rakes. So if you're into a scenario on FanDuel where the optimal lineup is very obvious, you're not going to get all that money back automatically like DraftKings does. And over the course of a year, that could be hundreds, if not, thousands of dollars in some cases if you play a ton of volume. So that's a lot of money that you are losing out on. And this whole video was actually inspired by talking to one of my buddies that plays a lot of head-to-head FanDuel. because I don't really ever post head-to-heads there for the reasons that I'm saying. But one of my good buddies in DFS, Brad is pro, probably him and JG are probably like two of the nicest guys you could ever meet in DFS. And he was telling me how he has to go back when he wants to get his rake refunded. He has to email FanDuel customer support, and like he has to like link every single contest that was a tie. So that's so time consuming, and it's a pain in the butt. But there were certain weeks for FanDuel NFL, which I'm sure you saw the complaints on Twitter where everyone was like saying, "Oh, people are colluding." But honestly, like that lineup that everybody got so up in the air about everyone being on. I went in and like hand built that thing in like 20 seconds. It was so obvious. Luckily, I didn't play head to heads that week. I just played double ups and 50-50s and stuff. But if I had played head to heads, I mean, my God, I would have tied a ton of people like everyone was complaining about, and I would have had to email them and send them all these links. And honestly, it's a pain in the butt. That's not something I would want to do. And Brad, was telling me about what a pain that was. So I just wanted to sort of explain that to people, that there's a lot of extra steps. Now, there's some ways around the FanDuel stuff, like you could post your head-to-heads one at a time, but that's really time-consuming and a real pain in the butt, and just not something, especially if I'm playing multiple sites, I don't have time to do that. I can't throw like $1 head-to-head down every 20, 30 minutes. It's just not worth the potential profit versus the time. So, I mean, I guess you could do that. You could post them one at a time. That's not anything I'd be interested in doing. And I think a lot of the sharks prefer FanDuel because no one can block them. They can't limit them. Like, I'm sure there's some sharks on DraftKings that tons of people block, and they don't get to see. They don't know that they're blocked. But on FanDuel, you just have no way to keep yourself away from these people. And some of these guys want so much volume that if you were to post, like I said, a couple 20s or a couple 50s or a couple hundreds, they're gonna just scoop them up like it's nothing because they want the volume. So that's really dangerous, and that's not something I would ever want to do. I have maybe a teensy bit of notoriety as a cash game player, but the thing is, like, if I went to FanDuel, all the people that I block on DraftKings, they've never even seen me in the lobbies. They don't know who I am. They don't know if I'm any good. So they would automatically come after me. And then, new people would come after me too because I'm new to FanDuel. So that was, one thing I wanted to go over, which I think is really important when you're considering what site you want to play head-to-heads on. And what I would do is, if you do currently play head-to-heads on FanDuel and you weren't aware of this, just let them know. Like, let them know that this is annoying and that you want these changes. That's the only way stuff like that's going to happen. Like, DraftKings took all these players first initiatives, and like when DraftKings switched the player blocks from 3 to 10 opponents, like that was huge for somebody like me because it allowed me to be able to like move up in stakes faster and not have to worry about as many sharks taking my games. But so lastly, I will go into my DraftKings account and show you where to go for player blocks. I haven't been on this in a while, but and I'm not going to show you who I'm blocking because I don't think that's fair to those players. I don't want to do anything that hurts their equity or gets people to think like, oh, I need to block him. I think you need to figure out your player blocks through trial and error, like seeing who you're good at, seeing who you're good against, and seeing what really good players might be scooping you, or what really good players might be beating you consistently. So yeah, you go to preferences, and I'll try not to scroll down too far because, like I said, oh shit. All right, well, you saw some of the people that I block. I'll get out of there. But yeah, you just go right up to here. I don't want to have to redo this, so I'm just gonna let it fly, whatever. But yeah, so there's there's the people. There, that's how you do blocks. Thanks for watching. All right, take care.